Danke pasigi com o programa de Moru Bom Dia de geração de junho de 2025. Nós temos exatamente, na mesma conta tem quase 20 para 9 acaba. Nós temos nossa sessão de entrevista. Agora, mensagem código de proteção sumamente interessante, pero lamentavelmente não vamos ter tempo, então um rol sabe, pero nós estamos invitando de novo dia mais para que trazer essa informação sumamente importante aqui de parte SO Away. Também que também um ministro novo agora aqui, seu pensamento ribesa aqui também é muito importante. Bom, de outro tema, nós vamos caminhar de tema agora que nós vamos papel de, por exemplo, pilar que está sostener nossa economia na dura agora que o turismo, inovação, está queda andando, então motor atrás de papel de inovação, papel de comércio, está Cinex. Que motor que é sostener, que é motivar, que é conscientizar, que é trazer inversionistas, que é promover nos isla Curaçao, a plataforma internacional. Então mais me ser tá na cabeça de Cinex. Mas nem vai pensar hoje na. Fidia e caballero aqui assim tá arranca e organização aqui. Me diga isso como o time tá no momento na aqui. Mas Moru bom dia. E também very good morning to our guest. We are talking in English right now because they speak English, not yet papiamento. They are trying their best, but excuse that our viewers. So we will continue a little bit in English, a little bit in papiamento. We are talking about the topic about the CNEX conference going to happen. First off, Miles, informação para a nossa comunidade tocante à conferência aqui.
Bom, para nós é um prazer para compartilhar essa reunião. Foi o começo de ano, nós vamos anunciar que para final de ano, novembro, Curaçao também está em host country. Danke também ao apoio do governo de Curaçao, mas também oficina de turismo e também time de Cinex. Caminho do Curaçao, a work de vira a plataforma e casa de 5 edição de Caribbean Hotel Investment and Operations Summit of Conference. Está caminho com a plataforma mais grande de Caribe. Caminho com tudo que está envolvido no desenvolvimento para inversão de projetos hoteleiro, desenvolvimento de área no aeroporto e também operação de hospitality no Caribe, também em Curaçao. Então, ele põe agora e botinho imaginar que ongeveer mais de 300 pessoas também em Curaçao e caminho com nós também é host country, caminho com nós para privar inversão no Caribe, mas mais importante também inversão na Curaçao de próxima década que também riba todo o mundo avança no novo e com eigenlijk o setor hoteleiro mundialmente, sobretudo todo brands tão grande também, com nanta mira que é o que nos falta, uma oportunidade tanto para nós através com os core business que está para facilitar a inversão de afo para bem Curaçao, mas também é para de export e todos os bandas essa que toca o tema aqui para nós segurar o upgrade que nós para e acaba agora aqui antecipando o evento de novembro e a bom menina Nicole e também com Paris que é o time organizador na nome de conferência na Curaçao para começar com os stakeholders na meetings na começar fora já domingo que passa.
Nicole Rowntree, Director of CHICOS, and Paris Jordan, Managing Director of AGVS. Why Curaçao, Nicole?
We have not been. We love to take this conference to different destinations, and this is our first time coming to Curaçao. And so many of our attendees, when we announced it last year, were like ecstatic because they've never been. And so it's a great opportunity to showcase the island, showcase the destination, all of the opportunities. The performance of the hotel industry in Curaçao is doing tremendously well. So that trend should just keep going, and we want to bring all of our attendees here to see it, witness it for themselves.
It's not only bringing them, but you want results, you want what the main focus is of this conference.
So exposure for the country and to facilitate development deals related to hospitality and tourism in the Caribbean region. So getting the discussions, getting all the people in the same room to do those deals for hospitality and tourism.
All right. Paris, very important this conference. So I asked Nicole, what do you know about Curaçao?
Apart from not being able to speak the local language, I've been to Curaçao over 10 times.
Wow.
I've been a hotel consultant for over 20 years. I'm originally from Trinidad, but I've lived in New York for the last 30 years. but Curaçao was my first international assignment. So I've worked on multiple hotels here. We were very involved on the feasibility side. We've done valuations, we've done investments and advisory for various hotel owners and developers on the island. So I worked exclusively in the past for the Marriott. We've done work for the Renaissance. We worked on the former Hyatt, which is now a Sandals. And we've done feasibility studies for numerous properties on island. We've seen Curaçao grow over the last 20 years with a lot more direct flights. The occupancy levels are tremendously high here as compared to other destinations and regions in the world. And as Nicole said, our attendees are looking for new locations to go. So we felt like this year, Curaçao has to be the location. It's doing so well in terms of tourism. And you know, with the leadership of the government and Cinex and everyone helping, we're happy to bring CHICOS to Curaçao.
Okay, how are you going to protect the locals with building of hotels? I know the development of tourism is going rapidly or in a high speed, but how do you protect the locals with tourism? We can see that now in Spain, the problems about too much tourism in Spain and hotels. How do you focus on that?
Sure. I think Cinex and the government obviously have a framework in place to protect, obviously, the local, infrastructure and everything, so that it's not just this massive, rapid development. But certainly, all of the incentives and what hoteliers are looking for, it has to make sense for them as well. So that discussion takes a long time. So it's not like they will build a hotel tomorrow, but it will start the process. So I think it's definitely has to be sustainable, that's for sure. So yeah, it's just bringing the right people together so they can make the right decisions.
I think it's also, I think, to add on the experience from the CHICOS conference, but also your hospitality experience, is that we're trying to focus as well to educate and inform on the possibilities for the future. Whenever we talk about hotel development, people already immediately think maybe, oh, a big building, high rise, and we move forward. But the discussions are much more than that. So in Curaçao, especially as we're let's say in the early stages of tourism boom and development, everything that we are experiencing, one of the great benefits of the conference is that we're bringing in the players that really drive the business together. So you have to think from pension funds to the bankers, to the lenders, to the equity partners, to the hotel brands. We are talking about, okay, how do we make sure our product life cycle continues for the next two decades and beyond? So it means as well that we need to talk about, okay, what's the new inspiration? What are new brands looking for? We have a lot of existing properties, existing areas that we need to develop. It doesn't always mean that you need to go to a new area to develop. We're talking about, for example, in our meeting with the minister on Monday, we discussed about the sales building. There's a big building next to the hospital that's empty. What do you do with it? How do you put the minds together to look into the areas that are not traditionally think of, okay, what can you do with it, and how can you transform that into hospitality experience? So we firmly believe that the conference is much bigger than just the topic of adding rooms, but actually adding value to the product life cycle of Curaçao for the future. And I think with CHICOS' expertise and the connections that it will bring for Curaçao is exactly what we need currently for the future planning of our island's development.
Exciting. So if you can compare Trinidad and Curaçao, how do you see that, sir?
In terms of hotel development or just in general?
In general, in hotel development and tourism.
So Trinidad is more like an oil-based economy, almost similar to Curaçao. Curaçao has a lot more leisure demand, which is helpful. When in Trinidad and Tobago, the focus mainly is on business tourism. They're well known for their carnival, but that's like 1 week during the year. So their focus now is to try and shift from business tourism into more leisure. Now, when you look at hotels, there are three basic groups. There's meetings and groups, there is leisure, and there is like transient demand. If you could spread it out, it's more better for you as a destination. And we've seen here in Curaçao, there is business demand, but now there's also leisure demand, which helps in terms of being more sustainable. When you're focused only on one, like if you're only on leisure, and then the economy takes a hit and the leisure traveler is no longer traveling, then you could not be as performant as strong. But when you have both sectors, you have the business and you have leisure, it helps you through the rough waters. And that's what Curaçao has. And that's one of the reasons why Curaçao is so successful and continues to perform at a strong rate in terms of occupancy levels.
Nicole was the originator from CHICOS. What's the background story about this?
Basically, through HVS, we are the largest hospitality consulting firm. We have all of the connections in the hospitality industry. We know the banks, we know the developers, we know the brands, the consultants, the owners, the private equity. So we can bring all of those people together. And so we started this conference 15 years ago in the Bahamas. We've gone to different islands every year. And to be able to bring it here, there's such an opportunity for the host country to have these international and regional executives come to their island, see what it's all about. So many people haven't been here before, so it's you know, a great opportunity for that first time attendee to come and see the culture and the development and you know, what the potential is. So really, it's for the region. It's for sustainable development in terms of hospitality and tourism in the Caribbean, and kind of coming together as one and you know, making it the best it can be.
What are the details that the hotel owners, the investments are looking for in an island into this?
So it all depends, obviously, understanding the government, understanding the laws, understanding, you know, the different jurisdictions, land that's available. Some countries already have too many hotels, so understanding what brands are already there. Is all-inclusive popular? Is it the European plan that's popular? So I think Curaçao offers both, which is great. So there's a lot of different opportunities for hotel investors to explore.
And yesterday, just to add on as well, we had a great meeting with Chata, the Chata board and the delegation, and they came up as well with several ideas of, for example, what's the story actually to share? Because of course, on the one side you talk about incentives, on the other side you talk about, for example, benefits. We have a legal structure that's very popular as being part of the Dutch kingdom to protection of your assets. We have a legal structure when it comes to, for example, hosting data. If you look at our data for Search Center here, which is then outside of the US jurisdiction, that your data is also protected here and not, let's say, being able to be used by any other parts of the world. We talk about how stable the country is and how easy and how transparent our processes are for getting the permits or getting the areas to develop. So we discuss even about building costs, and that was not say new to me, but also an eye-opener again, talking about the benefits when thinking about the Dutch Caribbean, when thinking about Curaçao versus other typical Caribbean islands for development and product development for the future. So those are things that we will be sharing during the conference, during the conversations, during the Curaçao panel, and everything else.
And to add to that as well, yeah, you know, so developers, investors specifically look, some of the questions they would ask is, what is the airlift coming into that country? What airlines are coming in? How often are they traveling? What local banks or funding is available? Is there debt financing available in the local market? What other equity investors are available? So when you structure your deal, are we going to have all of the capital to put that deal together? As they said, what brands are in the market? So these are very specific questions. And as you know, the conference, we're going to have a lot of panel discussions and a lot of presentations. So we're going to have equity investors, we're going to have bankers, government officials from various islands, because other island ministers are coming and government representatives, because they're also trying to get deals done, but it's here in Curaçao. So it's great that you know, the investors can come, go to different locations, see opportunities at hand. But to get back to the conference, it's an opportunity for two major things. It's one, to network with decision makers. We're going to have 300 to 350 individuals at this conference, and they're all decision makers. They're coming from hotel companies, from banks, from equity, consultants, and everyone in the room is a leader in their company, and they could help structure a deal or put you in the right place or the right person to help you structure that deal. The other part to it, it's very informative. There are presentations that discuss what's happening in the Caribbean market, what's happening in terms of interest rates, what's happening in terms of where people go and what are the numbers, so an investor can make an informed decision. And even the average person who's trying to break into the industry can learn so much and interact with all these leaders. So they could walk away with a lot of knowledge and a lot of connections.
Kung e público po wak op sigi sa gideser como.
Sim, hope via ora boting e conferência na área que botou host country, tenabo possibilidade também caminda com bo comunidade local, bo partners local também tem acesso nesse aqui. Den passado hope via e tipo de conferência na aqui, tem viata para fora de nos reach, pessoa de um lugar que sabe mais leu, ou fora parte do mundo, nanta companhia na kuta organização aqui na Dubai e diferentes outras partes do mundo, pero de caso aqui também de nos prioridade tanta caminda com é acessível também para nós. Dus de próxima semana também, e luna com novembro, também comunicar também com essa aqui por e acaba nos em diferentes meetings com diferentes stakeholders, na bodinho pensar riba, o banco na, o verzekering bedrijf na, o corporate market localmente, kuta possivelmente por atender essa aqui, dus não também está hope interessar, então nós juist essa aqui está netamente a intenção para envolver também nos comunidade, também com isso não está interessar por participar e worden educar e informar riba todo tema não tem globalmente, den Caribe e também quizás para Curaçao riba futuro.
Tremendo. Nicole, as you see, the tourism is development. Is hotel still a thing, or there's more accommodation like Airbnb, or there's more hot? How do you see this?
I think it's a mix of both, and it all
Okay.
depends on the traveler. I think oftentimes with hotels and with brands specifically, customers know what they're going to get. When you rent an Airbnb or a vacation home, you're not exactly sure, and it could essentially ruin your vacation. So if it's not a good experience, so sometimes that happens. But I would say with hotels, you know what you're going to get. There's a standard in place, and so I think that trend will always be there. Hotels will always be popular for travelers.
Yes, and hotels with Paris that not only all inclusive, not just came from the airport to the hotel and stay there, but more to go to in the local in the community, right?
Yeah, and that's another big positive with Curaçao. I mean, there are some islands, particularly on the all-inclusive model, where people are bused from the airport to the hotel and they stay in the hotel. So back to your earlier question about how do you protect the locals. The way the tourism is structured here, the locals do benefit. There's such a tremendous spin-off here, and there's so much food, and there's culinary, there's other opportunities for the locals to benefit and gain financially, and that model is the better model, where people are leaving the hotels and they're driving. I mean, I hop in a car and I drive. Most people would do that. Some people would just want to stay in a hotel and relax, but you got to explore the island, and that's why, you know, Curaçao has built the tourism the way it's been structured. And individuals can leave and go, and they can spend money in the downtown area or other parts of the country. So it benefits the locals and the country overall.
All right, great. We will, as the press, will look deeply in the details how this conference is going to give results to the Curaçao investments, like CNEX to Miles, wanneer ons te waken desarrollar de cerca, invitação aqui. Que dia é a conferência está aqui no lugar?
Este lugar ding the 12 the 13th to the 15th of
November 9th to the 11th.
the 9th to
9th to
11th.
the 11th. The
I know why I have the 13th in my mind,
It's
but
okay.
yeah.
So in November, and you already here.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
To create awareness, we wanted to tell everyone we're coming. We're coming one time, and then we go to different islands. So it will be a few years before we're back. So we don't want people to miss out on the opportunity of getting in the same room, learning about all the trends that are happening in the region, and meeting the network of people that we're bringing here.
Yes,
So.
right.
And I mean, to add to that, as Miles may have pointed out, both in the local language and we're seeing it too, it's such a tremendous opportunity for CHICOS to be here, for locals who are trying to break into the industry, for people to invest and learn so much. The reason we're here now is so that we can inform everyone. That's the reason we're here. We're having all the meetings. We'd hate for the conference to be here and then no one really knows. And after we leave, they're like, oh, that would have been a great opportunity. So that's why we're trying here to just, it's all about informing the people locally of who we are, what this conference is about, so they can participate and benefit.
Ja. Maar het is ook importante, ja, dus het programma acaba com aqui da programa para novembro aqui. que já de junho bastante base acaba para novembro. Isso é algo remarcável que já não tem para comunicar com o comércio acaba mais.
Isso aqui é uma parte importante do desenvolvimento, a maneira como você Sinex através do pilar econômico de turismo nós sostener a busca inversão papiando agora que Cuba nós temos meeting depois aqui para por exemplo Suriname um grupo trabalhando agora aqui Suriname para oil and gas um grupo de Sinex junto com Curaçao diferentes outras companhias que trabalhando para promocionar Curaçao como hub para posicionar no futuro no mundo de crudo mesmo coisa também outro semana mesmo grupo de Sinex aqui nós estamos em Amsterdam junto com o mundo digital caminha com digital economy te vira pilar que nós vai promote pero nós temos 5 companhias locais que trabalham junto com nós para nós posicionar Curaçao no mundo aqui então em ambos mira com planificação é processo muito importante e o motivo de como te mencionei aqui também está com cada pilar econômico tamara na outro. Nós vamos ver o Sinex com transformative power significa com pilar econômico com o turismo porta catalisador de outro tipo de desenvolvimento que tem outro pilar econômico. PC também para nós trabalhar junto e também eigenlijk simultaneamente nós trabalhamos todo o pilar econômico para buscar inversão, posicionar vanuit export e também vanuit foreign direct investment. E depois essa aqui também mirando a importância e a missa com grande evento que vai estar em novembro, nós vamos começar mais tempo possível para evitar que depois hoje a sempre outubro de rush para informar anto paperiba tópico que o PN quizás para antecipar e planificar muito mais melhor com ele. Fora o começamento em ano e acaba vanuit CHICOS team na informar mundo tornang delegado nang ku etabaita na Curaçao dus para nós também é importante para nós começar jumpstart e começar a preparar para com essa aqui então fora da conferência nós temos showcase Curaçao também que nós temos opening events nós temos vai caminho vai para mostrar nos centro de cidade nós temos mostrar nos área que nós temos dus para nós também é importante para bom preparar para nós para inversão pero de uma maneira também no nível com Curaçao seguro para bem.
Tremendo. Nicole and Paris, thank you to accept the invite. Curaçao, #1, almost, not yet, almost #1 destinations worldwide for tourism. So we are very excited about this. We will see the development in this conference. Lesworth, thank you for coming and we will see each other again at the conference with the results of this conference.
Perfect.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you.
Mas, meu nome é Cabo, televidente, mas mercer kuta na timon di Sinex no momento na aqui, mas ele cabo to ranka, e cabeiro aqui da ranka, e team di Sinex, passou com social nang, diz que nós está, já nós estamos top 5 caba, já nós chegamos diz número 1, pero que também significa para nós aqui na Curaçao, nós que temos deal cultura e turismo, cultura e desenvolvimento aqui, quando nós temos que carregar nos infraestrutura, pero tudo isso aqui nada temos também como Sinex, atrair inversionista na local, internacional, conectar junto, mas danke que aqui êxito. Ja, met de siabo tu classe de êxito, me sai trabalhando com bomita assim, for de tempo na ya, e te que agora aqui é plataforma de planta nacional tem para servir outras informações na cerca de comunidade.
Seguro, danke pelo espaço, danke também para o sustento, também danke na comunidade de Curaçao para sempre também estar ao tanto e estar sostener eigenlijk todo tipo de bozato, estar informado, estar punta informação, assim de uma maneira grande também que botar energia para seguir trabalhando para make sure que todo o plano econômico tem a atenção necessária.
Público porta presente na conferência aqui?
Sim.
Empresário local, chiqui, grande.
Sim. E aí você está lo que conosco, lo que hobby é empresário chiquito que tem ambição para desenvolver algo, não tem conexão com o grupo internacional que número tão grande, ou também com o equity partners tão grande. Então, netamente a conferência aqui está para nós fazer é bridge building e matchmaking para com essa aqui. Turismo está caibou de export também, então não botar mira também fora qualquer ideia que você tem chiquito, que se você quer abrir por exemplo na banda algo de glamping, para você uma conexão internacional para por aí volume. Por netamente a conferência aqui de Paperiba é tópico na aqui, ando caminhando dos veteranos partindo junto para desarrollar sua ambição local, ambição de governo, perdão, ambição de região e o que nós mira para o futuro.
Ok, mas se registrar-se?
Sim, nós também comunicar que da volta nós vamos Sinex sua página de Facebook, ou Instagram, ou website, botar em toda a informação. Segundo o dia de passa, nós vamos pôr também algum space especial para nossa comunidade local para poder participar. O que também nossa papel também está com nossa universidade, também os estudantes de ramo aqui no turismo, pero também no business development, também nós vamos um acercamento para também join aqui, para também poder ter feel de lo que o mundo está discutindo.
Tremendo, televidente. Oportunidade na porta. Aproveitar de seguir Cinex de cerca, seguir televisão, multimédia também, nós temos informação, uma boa registrar, atenção empresário local, atenção entrepreneur, e saque de oportunidade em novembro, que é pendente, custa grande de pessoas de que tu vai aqui na Curaçao. Thank you very much, Paris and Nicole,
Thank you.
for the invite, and we will see each other again. I will promise you that.
Thank you.
Nós vamos para break comercial e disse, nós seguimos a parte final de Moru Bom Dia de 1 de junho de 2025.